Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Free Practice 3 for Season 5, Round 3 of Monday Race Club. It is a Sunday evening, 7th of November. We are just an hour and a half away from the lights out at the Mexican Grand Prix, where there is going to be a great battle going on. But tonight we have our Free Practice 3 in relation to round 3 here at the Algarve International Circuit, commonly referred to as Portimao circuit. It's a 4.6 kilometre, 2.8 mile race circuit located in Portugal. Last year, the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix was the first Grand Prix that had been held in Portugal since 2006. No, it wasn't. It was 1996, which had taken place at the Estoril circuit, and again it held the Portuguese Grand Prix this year, 2021, from the 30th of April to the 2nd of May. So as I said, it is Free Practice 3. We've had a couple of practice sessions already, folks. So those of you who are familiar with MRC, and those who are not familiar with MRC, then obviously I will run down the various iterations of how we do MRC in terms of racing. We are PlayStation League. We are one of the fastest growing. We have 3 tiers full of 20 drivers in each tier. In relation to it, we are obviously here at Portimao. We will make sure that everybody is covered as we go through the 30 minutes of practice that we are currently underway. And as I said, we've got a variety of tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 as we speak. So we're just watching Orange Jaffa Cake 1 in the Haas go round. We've got the Fox River 8 there at the present moment in time as well, and Lopez out on track. Everybody out on track pretty much, apart from iFishers at the moment and Simba as well, and those will be coming over the line as we speak. It is a very, I'd almost call it a bit roller coaster, shall we say, in terms of this particular circuit. You can see as we're kind of climbing up, you can see a couple of cars there. It's going to be a long straight from that kind of very ending of sort of turn 14, then coming through turn 15 at flat out, and then right through to Primeria, which is the first corner, and then into turn 2. So we're just on board here with Loppe, and then we're coming up to this kind of turn 4, very much a blind crest of a corner, and then flat out DRS zone, 2 DRS zones on the track, very hard braking zone as we come down into the hairpin there, very much the opportunity for overtaking. You have to watch that you don't run too wide though, otherwise you're going to end up in problems. Again, we're going to have a bit of a right swing here, and again as we come up to this braking zone, you're a little bit off camber. Again, you can see there, you can see exactly what we were saying there, Loppe spinning around, very easy to lose it at turn 8 there. Turn 8 known as Samsung in terms of the corner name, and then obviously as you come down into turn 9, which is Craig Jones, and we'll touch on a bit more about the history of the track. But turn 8, very easy to lose the back end, especially on those hard compound tyres, and we've just seen Orange Jacket quick lap there, and then pretty much all the racing right into the 120.4 in the Ferrari this evening. Camel Bob by there as well, 120.5. So we're just now with the Alpine of Tom Brown. Again, you can see very much congested track already. Everybody using the opportunity to get out early, test their strategies ahead of the race. We do have Tier 1 and Tier 2 will be racing tomorrow evening. We can see the Ferrari giving the Alpine a little bit of a kiss there up the back, as if to say, get out of my way, it's time to go. We have Tiers 1 and 2 that are racing on Monday evenings. We have Tier 3 that race on Wednesday evenings. Do check out the YouTube channel, all the videos. Oh, we've got one of the Ferraris just going round there. Was that Ollie perhaps? It was indeed. Turn 8 again, very easy to get wrong. Just keeping a bit of track guidance there, which is always good. Just on board as he looks to clear it through. We'll be on, let's jump on with Monster at the moment, and we're just seeing this is turn 8 as we're coming up here, and you can just see it's very easy. You have to make sure that you can clip the apex, but not too badly, and you can see there again more oversteer coming through, having to kind of correct it there. So very much just looking at that opportunity. You need to be able to be tidy. Very much easy to lose the rear end, as we've seen on a couple of occasions this evening already, folks. And then as he kind of comes down into what is essentially turn 13, and again, another crest which is a little bit blind. Put the power down, turn into 14, and then it's pretty much fill it to the floor, go for it. Make sure you don't lose too much time. The back end could step out there just in terms of a bit of oversteer, but absolutely flooring it now as we come down. So let's do a lap of the Portimao circuit. So right down the pit straight, MTO, top of the charts, 119.8 at the present moment in time. Coming down into turn 1, very much the braking zone, it's downhill. You're then in the medium high speed right hander. Turn 2 is pretty much just flat out, and we're then coming into turn 3, very much a hairpin. Very easy again just to lose it. Turn 4, again we've said that, over the blind crest, it can cause some oversteer, have to watch. Second DRS zone, activates the rear wing, and then pretty much we're then just coming down into the tight left hand hairpin of turn 5. Again, foot to the floor. Turn 6, this little kink here, flat out as we go through, and then the blinding quick right hander is turn 7, and then we've got here turn 8 Samsung. As I said, you got to watch the curbs. You're going to run a little bit wide, or you're going to go round. We've seen it happen before. We've seen a couple of things now, folks. So we'll stay with Monster to conclude the lap. But as we'll have seen, you can lose it in terms of the oversteer, or you can slightly run wide as well. Got to watch the curbs on the inside of Samsung. Again, very dangerous, very much exposing yourself to potential problems there. After the steep hill, again, we're coming sort of turn 9 here, as you can see, and you want to really clip it quite nicely. And as we drop then downhill, again, very much into those sort of tight and twisty sections. Coming into turn 13 here, as we said, MTO goes quickest again, 119.5, 9 tenths of a second clear of Ollie Racing at the moment. And there we've got single track in front of us at the moment at the Red Bull, fresh from his little jaunt to Barcelona, not too far from where we are, a little bit far on the other side of Spain, but we'll give it that. We're Gagai top 119.1 there. So some fantastic laps that we've already got in here. Got a bit of a flavour in terms of variety. We've just got Mark H here in his Mercedes. So ultimately, it's just about getting that balance right. This circuit's going to be very much one of those circuits whereby it's all going to be about keeping your car on track. The track limits here are quite tough as well, so again, you're going to have to watch as you go through qualifying not to invalidate your lap. You're going to have to watch as we go through the race. Again, 3 warnings that you do get, but again, we've got to just balance that off ultimately. But it's going to be a race of attrition. I think you're going to have a scenario of not just strategy coming into effect, but also the fact that you could lose it at turn 8. That could easily cost you 10, 11, 12 seconds as we go through here, watching Mark go through there. A lot of individuals, if we just kind of look at some of the sort of tyre, we can see a lot of people on the hard tyre, medium, got a couple of people on the soft compound tyre at the moment. Again, yes, fastest tyre that we've got there, grippiest tyre, but it won't last as long. Not as durable as the hard compound tyre that we're seeing here on the Mercedes and quite a few of the other ones at the moment. Again, though, it's about understanding. We see a Ferrari going wide in the background there, but it's about getting those laps in on the hard compound tyre. The medium compound tyre are going to be the ones that you're going to really look to utilise as we go through the race ultimately. Just keeping an eye on Mark there just now as well. So we were talking a bit about Craig Jones, which is turn 9, just kind of what he's coming up to at the present moment in time, and the rationale, very much it's a tribute to Craig Jones, sort of representing Jones on his motorbike after passing the finishing line. There is a statue that is there, or is certainly being built in regards to it, but it was named after former world supersport rider Craig Jones, who was killed in a motorcycle crash in Brands Hatch in 2008. It's very much named after him for that. Again, just keeping an eye on the times. It is, as we said, very much like a roller coaster track ultimately. As we can see, lots of crests, lots of ups and downs here. We've got Gibbon and the Ferrari at the present moment here, just watching him. As we said, we've got a variety of different tiers racing tonight, so very much the purpose of free practice is not always about sheer lap time and sheer speed. It is about being able to fine-tune your car, being able to get it into that operating window of making sure that your race setup is there. Yes, you can be the quickest, and yes, you can be pole position, but if you've not got a good race setup with that heavy fuel car, being able to operate on both those medium and those hard compound tyres, you really are going to struggle and fall down the order. So the top two at the moment, Guy and MTO, 119.1, 119.5, 4/10 of a second. Ollie Racing just 4/10 of a second back on those medium compound tyres, probably around about half a second, 6-7 tenths of a second a lap difference between the softs and the mediums. So again, gives you a bit of an indication as to where we are. We just see Gibb there just running wide at the moment. Joyful Hell and Orange Jaffa Cake and the Hassies quite close to each other on track. Not been able to give necessarily too much of a slipstream. We're just now on board with Ollie in his red Ferrari. Guy in front of him in his Alpha Tauri as well. So just watching these two, and you can see you can take a couple of slightly different lines. Is Guy going to drop into the pits, or is he absolutely going for it? We'll keep an eye on as we go through. Ollie just getting a little bit there. Guy pops into the pits, and so does Ollie. We've picked them up at the wrong possible time there, folks. But again, really technical circuit. Very much a bit like Canada in a way. Yes, you've got those couple of long straights, especially coming out of turns 13 and 14, but you've got to have the downforce there. Very high sort of downforce types of circuit as well. Fastest lap set by Lewis Hamilton, 118.7 in the 2020 Grand Prix for that, 2.891 miles this circuit indeed. Was built back in 2008, so it is a new circuit. It was drafted in onto the F1 calendar during the COVID hit 2020 season, when pretty much majority of the season was spent in Europe, given some of the challenges that we were seeing around the world. Just watching iFishers here in the Williams, he's got an Alfa Romeo behind him, which is Stringy B. And again, you can see as you're going into that hairpin, going to be lots of opportunities to pass there, especially with that DRS. So if you get really good exit out of turn 4, then you're gonna see that. We've got one of the Mercedes has went round. Is that the Fox River? He has. He's just went round there and in between turns 13 and 14. Got Thomas Hornet here just on his outlap. He's about to go on to his fast lap at the present moment, so let's just have a look at the telemetry. So not utilising too much of his ERS there, coming into turn 1, again flat into turn 2, then hard braking down into 3 for that hairpin. Again, building up his ERS, gets in again, very easy to get the rear end stepping out, and you don't want that too much in the race. You're going to wear your rear tyres out. You've got to just be able to try and keep it clean through there. Nice hard braking, straight in the car, good rotation, and then put the accelerator down as we land up the hill. Not using too much ERS at the present moment either, really kind of saving it as we go now into that turn 8 of Samsung. As we go tight, let's just see. Nice and clean there, no touch of oversteer, very settled rear end planted in the corner there. Again though, as he comes into 9, then into 10, and then that hard braking again. Want to clip the car, want to get good rotation on the car. MTO 118.9, fastest man at the present moment. And then again, slow it down. Is he going to utilise his ERS? Is he going for race strategy? And this is going to be one of the key focus areas. Again, it's not all about speed, it's about getting continuity as we go through. And again, just keeping him aware of where we are as he drops his way down. DRS activation now, and then comes across the line and goes into 8th. A couple of, as we said, DRS activation lines in here as well. So as you can see, one of the Aston Martins just gone past, so if we're just on board just now, DRS activation 1 is here for DRS detection for DRS zone 1, as we'll see here. And then if we just jump to one of the Alfa Romeos, DRS detection zone 2 there, just as we were saying. Technically DRS zone 1 is here now, but it's just before the end of the lap. As you can see there, not again utilising too much of ERS capability there, but just we've got a yellow flag in sector 1 and sector 2. Very much cleared pretty quickly for that. Again, still quite a few more people out on softs, but again, there's this fine balance, making sure how many laps can you do on those hard compound tyres. The full race was 66 laps, so we're going to be doing a 33 lap, 50% race, 18 minutes of qualifying when it comes to the actual race. We have free practice 1 on a Thursday night, free practice 2 on a Friday night, and free practice 3 on a Sunday evening. Brought forward today because obviously the Mexican Grand Prix starts in just over 1 hour's time. Free practice sessions, 30 minutes of practice, 18 minutes of short qualifying, and then a 25% race. In terms of the actual championship races, 18 minutes qualifying, short qualifying session, and then 50% in the race. So we're going to have 33 laps. It's going to be interesting. Couple of stops. Probably look to see most people will qualify on the soft compound tyres in the top 10, but those who are actually going to be in the bottom 10 are going to be looking and saying, well, do I go with a hard compound tyre? Do I go with a medium? Could the hard actually get me through to the point where I could potentially stick on a one-stopper and go in the mediums? Or do I try and make a two-stop work and then go on to the softs towards the end? Safety cars are going to bring a lot, as we've seen in Imola. We've seen a variety of different strategies in Imola. We've seen the rain as well. Chances of rain in the Algarve in Portugal, probably slim to none. Probably looking at nice sunny and warm, hot conditions for the races. But again, you just don't know if that rain that we've seen in 2020 in terms of Portuguese, it was held back in October. Ollie racing top of the pile there, 118.4 in his Ferrari. So again, a good lap from him. We're starting to see those times tumble as people go and switch on to the soft compound tyres, start to go on qualifying runs as well. Just seen single track there in that Red Bull. Still got that white Red Bull just now. And you can see that he's fully utilised his full deployment for the lap. He's just jumping into the pits there. Grimo in the Alpha Tauri just dropping through, coming up now into 13 on the hard compound. So at the moment we've got Fox River on 10 lap old hards, we've got Mark on 10 lap old hards, and Loppe on 9, although he's just gone on to the mediums as we speak. So maybe people are starting to say, well, actually, is the hard compound tyre actually the right one we want to do? If we watch Grimo, he goes through onto, he's at 128.1, so 10 seconds off the top pace at the moment. Again, that's going to be balanced off by fuel load. But again, it's going to give a really good indication of how long you can make those hard tyres last for in the race. So again, we'll just keep it on. Telemetry, top right of your screen, folks. We've got the ERS deployment, as you can see there, coming up to 56. Doesn't utilise too much of the ERS. Lots of braking opportunities, lots of opportunities to recharge that ERS. We've got one of the Alpines behind them on the soft compound tyres. That will likely be Fisher's. I think Gene Genies just went on to, or is on the hard compound tyres and just went into 11th there. So as we watch Grimo coming up to a Samsung, and again, and you can see there, very easy. And this is the other thing as well, as the race unfolds, you're going to lose that grip in those hard compound tyres eventually. And especially if we've got safety cars, then ultimately it's going to be a fine balance of understanding how to get the heat cycles back into the car as well. And that's going to be key for the race. As we go through. Got a yellow in 3. Again, very, very quickly cleared. 2 Alfa Romeos at the moment, close on track, 13th and 14th, not in terms of close on track, but next to each other in the thing. If we just jump on board just now with Stringy B, you can see him chasing down Tom Brown, utilising his ERS. He passes the Alpine as we go through, closes the rear wing there. Again, just keeping on board with him on his fast lap, so let's just stay on board with him. Gets the car nicely rotated, doesn't hit the apex too hard, coming up over the crest of that hill as we go into 4, but making sure a little bit of correction on the wheel there. Opens the DRS, as you can see, and he's coming down. When's he going to brake? He's braking around about 65 metres, misses the apex, but again, gets the car nicely rotated. We come up there the hill. Flat, let's see as he comes through here. Lifts a little bit. Runs a bit wide, and again, track limits is going to be key there. Again, keeps it nice and balanced. Third gear, he's feathering the throttle there. So again, nice to see that good rhythm as he goes through. So we're now seeing the blind crest here. And then hard on the brakes. Again, runs quite wide, but hits the... Again, it's a difficult corner. You can run wide. It's not almost running wide, but you can run like that, kind of hit the rumble strip on the left hand side, you can try and hit the apex and get a good clean exit as well. Again, as you come into turn 14 here, again, multiple different lines that you can take. Again, just trying to utilise, just understand. And he goes over the line, 1:19.2. So, but his time was invalidated, and again, that's going to be the key part of this ultimately, is understanding track limits. In terms of the track limits, 3 warnings, and then you get the penalty essentially on your 3rd warning. So again, 3-second time penalties that we need to watch out for. In terms of DRS activation, 2 laps after the start of the race. So at the beginning of lap 3, DRS will be activated. Therefore, the first DRS activation zone will be between turns 4 and 5. If we have a safety car monster, 1:18.4 there, so 12 thousandths of a second between him and Ollie Racing at the moment. Just watching Jacob in the McLaren. So DRS activated 2 laps after the start of the race. If there is a safety car, DRS again is shut off for 2 laps after the safety car, and then it becomes activated again. If it's a virtual safety car, DRS activated straight away upon the green flag racing there. Jacob just on those medium tyres, 7 laps old at the present moment. Again, we'll be looking, and again, we don't see what the fuel loads are in terms of the car, so everybody will be running slightly different strategies in terms of fuel loads. Looking at him, we can see Mark, 13 laps on those hard compound tyres. He's really going for that kind of race simulation run at the present moment. Some others going for kind of quick lap times. Maybe they've dialed in their setups over the last few days, but we will see it when it comes to race day tomorrow evening. Tier 2, 7 o'clock start. Tier 1, 8:45 start, and then Tier 3 on Wednesday, 7:30. So set your diaries. There is nothing on Monday evenings and Wednesday evenings. Tune into MRC through YouTube. So again, watching Jacob as he comes through. Got a couple of yellows. Again, should relatively cool. We've got one of the Hasses behind him at the moment, which should be, is it Orange Jaffa? It must be, I think, Jaffa Hill, just or on the outlap. And Jacob dives into the pits. So let's jump on board with Mark in that Mercedes. Let's just have a look and see. MTO left the session, so let's hope it's no technical gremlins. But on with Mark, so 14 laps, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a start to have a bit of a look at various drivers, look at the routes, look at the times that we're taking. We were talking about one of the Alfa Romeos in terms of hitting a sort of 128. Let's see what Mark's kind of hitting. You can see kind of feathering the throttle, 4th gear, 5th gear, now up into 6th place, 170 miles an hour as we touch on turn 15. He's going to race towards the line, and he is going to do what, about 120.5, so really only a 1/10 of a second. He's been on this hard compound tyres for about 15 laps, and again, that's probably what we're going to see. We're going to see a combination of the hard compound tyre, which, yes, is going to be slower than the soft and the medium, but it's got the longevity in there, and as the fuel load starts to go down, as long as you've not taken too much life out of the tyre, then you're certainly going to be there. He's 3/10 of a second up at the moment. Now turns into that hairpin. Still looking really good. Nicely dialed in front end, especially after 15 laps on those hard compound tyres. Got 6 minutes of the session left, folks. But as again, comes into Samson. Let's just keep an eye. Let's just check the rear end. Again, a little bit of an oversteer there, a little bit more, but nicely corrected. Again, not utilising too much of ERS. Again, braking, let's see differently. And he goes for the apex on the inside, runs slightly wide, whereas we've seen a run slightly to the edge of the circuit. And again, swinging into the left-hand side here. Nicely, Grimo. Oh, just, looks like Grimo maybe had a spin round, has been disqualified for driving the wrong way. Again, it's just sometimes the AI system. Unfortunately, you're trying to correct any spinner mistake, and it can kick you out, folks. So again, Mark's going to come over, and that's going to be his fastest, 119.8, 6/10 of a second. So you can see even on the 16 lap hard compound tyres, and bear in mind 33 lap race, folks. So if you're going to be brave and go for that one stopper, you really are looking at probably getting to around about lap 19, lap 20. And then going on to the medium compound tyre, and that's if you can start the race on the hard or the medium. We're seeing a bit of racing. Oh, racing 118.2 there, so again, he's just popped into top spots on the practice at the moment. We can see here to the right, Joyful Hill in that Haas and Mark. Oh, and Joyful Hill and Mark just coming together a little bit, unfortunately there. Let's jump back on to... Who will we go on to, folks? If you're watching the stream and you're taking part, get out on track, folks. Fox Rivers just left the session as well. Thomas Hornet in the Williams there, just gone past one of the Mercedes. Tom Brown in the Alpine there, 118.9, solid effort. Currently on a fast lap. And he just jumps into the pit. MTO in the pits. Guy is the one of those. He's just had a bit of a spin there at the top of the hill just before turn 14. Very much like the Circuit of the Americas in terms of the elevation changes that are going through the circuit. So really much Circuit of the Americas, as you go into that turn one, really climbing to the top. Whereas in Portimao, and there we see Thomas Hornet, he tried to correct it there, and just that snap of oversteers, he thought he collected it, rear end stepped out, and then he went round. Not too much time lost there in terms of it could always be worse. But again, it's very easy to see, and he was on the soft compound tyres after 2 laps. Again, easy enough tyre wear, etc., to possibly lose control of the car. Watching in the Aston Martin, we've got Camel Ballboy here, just coming through, and he's racing just one of the Hasses, letting him pass there. He's on a fast lap at the moment. Again, a lot of different varieties of people who are utilising lots of their ERS, not utilising the ERS. I think it's going to be an exciting couple of races. Or 3 races, sorry. As I said, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, go onto YouTube, make sure you're subscribed, ting the bell, ding ding, every time we go live, you are going to get notified of when we go live, whether it be racing, whether it be practice sessions, whether it be non-championship races, you will get notified. So again, do watch it back, do share through the likes of Facebook, join our Discord if you wish to join. We're always on the lookout for new drivers. You don't necessarily always have to race. If you just want to join in for the banter, then please do. Good camaraderie, lots of different talents throughout the grid. Very good camaraderie between all of us. 2 minutes left in this session, folks. 1800 UK time. It's not British summertime anymore, it's GMT. So Tom Brown on his out lap, so he's going for one final run. A little bit of a traffic jam starting to appear. People getting out of the way. Sometimes have to jump onto the grass or the gravel. And let's just watch him as we go. Let's jump on board with that Alpine now as we go through. So currently 8th place at the moment on his out lap. DRS open, the rear wing activation. He's Stringy B behind, just looping in to get that slipstream. Slipstream relatively powerful here, but again, going to be very interesting between those who, and he's going to run wide. That's probably going to invalidate his lap. It has already invalidated his lap, and again, very easy to do. But there's going to be a very difference in terms of the car setup. Some are going to go for potentially more speed, but they're going to trim the downforce levels, or some will go for downforce and be absolutely smash out the park. In the tight and twisty sections, might be slightly slower in the straight, but we'll be utilising a lot of that downforce to hopefully pull them away as we through the tight and twisty section. So again, we'll just stay on board with Tom at the moment, although it's an invalidated. He'll just be backing off, sort of preparing his tyres. Got Jacob in the McLaren just starting an out lap. Got Rob in the Alpine there. Medium laps, and Mark still pumping round on lap 20 of those hard compound tyres. His strategy potentially in the race is going to be hard compound tyres in Tier 2, which myself and Carl Edens will be commentating over. Let's put it this way, we've not had a non-exciting Tier 2. We've not had a dull any race, to be fair, in Tier 1 and Tier 3, but Mark absolutely pounding around on those hard compound tyres. 119.8 at the moment. He hasn't gone out on any other tyres. We can see the gaps there, 1.5 behind, but again quite close in the top 5. Practice is now over. A few cars have passed the start finish straight for the final time. But as we said, the final practice session for people to get really tuned in for their setup, and of course they can utilise the multiplayer lobbies between now and this time tomorrow. 25 hours, folks, and countdown to the start of Tier 2, and then Tier 1 at 8:45 GMT tomorrow evening. Still like that white Red Bull. Get on 19 lap soft. That's a brave move. It's kind of just kept going around, similar to what Mark's doing. Obviously looking at kind of getting a bit of a race run, seeing what he can do on those soft compound tyres. I'll tell you what, they must be screaming from all that pain. We can see the Alpine behind him on the medium compound tyres, and that's Gene Genie. And Guy goes top with his final lap of practice. So a superb opening 30 minutes of practice session. Folks, free practice 3. And we can see there that we have Guy in the AlphaTauri. So he was utilising 4 sets of softs as he went through the race. Then we've got Ollie Racing, a medium, and then a couple of pairs of softs. Monster 89. Then we've got Simba, Camel Ballboy, Fox River 8, MTO, Tom Brown, Dumbest Hornet, Jacob 10th, Fishers, Gene Genie, and hards and mediums. Mark, fully hard all the way through. That sounds really wrong, but fully hard tyre all the way through the race. Loppe in 14th, Stringy B in 15th, Orange Jaffa Cake in 16th. Could actually do with a Jaffa Cake right now and a nice cup of tea. Maybe the Iron Brew. 17th Single Track, 18th Gerd, 19th Joyful Hell, and 20th Grimo. But again, couple of individuals going for just one run on the tyres, hards and soft compound tyres, but it's going to be bringing in a lot for the race itself. This is a layout for pre-practices, a practice session, and then a short qualifying and a 25% race. Normally we would stream the full thing, folks. We're going to cut it short this evening and do the 30 minutes. Some good practice laps that are going through there. The guys will now all get set up, look to tune in their qualifying sessions, pace, setup, and then go into race setups. Do join us at 7 PM GMT UK time tomorrow for Tier 2, and 8:45 PM tomorrow GMT for Tier 1, and 7:30 PM GMT on Wednesday for Tier 3. But until tomorrow at 7 PM, where it's absolutely going to be a cracker, and in 1 hour's time we're going to see another cracker in terms of the Mexican Grand Prix live from Mexico City. So do join us for Tiers 2 and Tier 1 tomorrow evening. Thank you and good night.